Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is on how to cover a whipped cream cake with fondant. As the fondant absorbs a lot of moisture from the whipped cream and gets very soft and sticky, I'll be showing you 3 ways on how to cover a whipped cream cake with it. And to know how to refrigerate a fondant cake, keep watching this video till the end and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. So here are 3 cakes filled and crumb coated with whipped cream and have been refrigerated for 30 minutes. So guys, the first way is to use melted chocolate before covering the cake with the fondant, and this method works great during the monsoons and the summers as well. I am using white chocolate over here and the quantity depends on the size of your cake. Now I am adding coconut oil in it as it makes the chocolate very smooth, and when the chocolate is set, it doesn't get too hard once out of the refrigerator. You can even use dark or milk chocolate if you are using dark colored fondant to cover a cake. I'll be covering with white fondant, that's why using white chocolate here. Take your cake and spread the chocolate all over the cake and create a thin layer of it. So basically the reason for doing this is to lock the moisture that can be created because of the whipped cream, which makes the fondant soft and sticky. I use this chocolate method in summers because it won't be hard for a person while cutting a fondant cake, as the chocolate layer beneath it will get soft once out of the refrigerator, unlike winters when the chocolate will remain hard and stiff to cut. Even it out and refrigerate for at least 5 to 10 minutes before covering it with the fondant. Once out of the refrigerator, the chocolate is set and giving a nice coating on the cake. Now dust the platform with some cornstarch and start rolling the fondant. Here I am using a ready-made fondant. If you guys wanna buy it, I have provided a link in the description box below. Roll out the fondant in the manner I am rolling it and then measure the height of your cake. So it's coming around 4.5 centimeters. Now cut the fondant 4.5 centimeters in height like this. Apply some cornstarch so that it doesn't stick. Now brush your cake with some water for the fondant to stick on it. Take a rolling pin and gather it like this. Now start sticking it on the circumference of your cake. Cut the excess and even it out with the help of a fondant smoother and by sticking it with some water. Now for covering the top, roll out the fondant, grab a round cutter or a cake pan same as the diameter of the cake. Brush with some water and place it on the top. Now stick the sides and the top nicely so that you cannot see any spaces in between. You can even use vegetable shortening to fill in the spaces and to even it out nicely. Cut out the excess and smoothen it out with the help of a smoothener. So guys, this is my way of covering a cake with the fondant, as I find it easy to do and even get sharp edges which I don't get with the usual covering technique. You can use whichever technique you find it easy to do. Can you see the sharp edges? Now, the second way is to cover the cake with the buttercream first and then cover it with the fondant, and this method works great during the winters. Take some buttercream and create a thin layer of it on the cake, and the reason behind doing this is the same as I explained you earlier. I use this buttercream method in winters as it remains set even when it is out of the refrigerator, unlike summers when the buttercream starts melting. Even it out and refrigerate for 10 to 15 minutes before covering it with the fondant. Now start covering it with the fondant as shown earlier, or whichever way you like. Here, you don't need to use water to stick the fondant on the cake. Now the third and the last way is to cover the cake with a chocolate ganache first and then cover it with a fondant, and this method works great during the monsoons and the winters as well. Make some chocolate ganache to coat the cake before covering it with the fondant, and you can use any chocolate ganache depending on the color of your fondant. Keep it in the refrigerator and let it set for a while before coating it on the cake. Now coat a thin layer with it as done earlier. I use this ganache method during monsoons and winters as the ganache remains set once out of the refrigerator. But guys, no method can perfectly eliminate the moisture on the fondant during the monsoons, as the humidity level is very high during that time. Now refrigerate the cake for at least 10 to 15 minutes before covering it with the fondant. Again, follow the same technique to cover the cake with the fondant, or whichever technique you like. So guys, time to refrigerate these cakes, but before refrigerating a fondant cake, minimize the cooling temperature of your refrigerator to the lowest. That means the cooling in your refrigerator should be very low when you are storing these fondant cakes. I do this because if a fondant cake is stored on a very high cooling temperature, then it gets moist once it is out of the refrigerator. So guys, this was the tip on how to refrigerate a fondant cake. And if you liked my way of covering a cake with fondant and found this video helpful, then please like, share and subscribe.